Kthehemi përsëri në bisedë, shikues nderuar. Jemi me zotin Dioguardi. Kemi folur pjesën e parë për politikën, jetën amerikane në përgjithësi, jetën e tij. Dhe konkretisht do të kthehemi në pikën më të rëndësishme të emisionit Thank You, aty ku do të flasim për kontributin 25 vjeçar të Floririt Albëresh, pra të Dioguardit, që ka bërë për çështjen mbarkombëtare shqiptare. Do t'i marrim me radhë ato dhe besoj se do të merrni informacion jashtëzakonisht me vlerë dhe profesional nga zoti Dioguardi. Unë kam zgjedhur një pyetje natyrshme, si u lidhet me jetën, me politikën, me hallet që ka populli shqiptar në Ballkan dhe që juve i dhatë një pjesë të jetës tuaj për çështjen shqiptare.
Well, first, to correct a little bit, it's 29 years, 4 years as a congressman, 25 years as an independent advocate for the Albanian people with the Liga Qytetare Shqiptare Americana, and with that 20 years with Shirley. So 29 years for me, 25 years as after Congress, but in the 25 years, 20 with Shirley because I met her in 1994. Well, once the Albanians found out that my family spoke Albanian, and they started coming to my office, they started coming to my house in Washington, in New York, giving me all the things that were being done against the Albanian people in Yugoslavia at that point. They weren't talking just Kosovo. They were saying, look what this place, Yugoslavia, is doing to Albanians in Kosovo, in Montenegro, in Macedonia. These were all republics then. Even in Serbia, you know, it had Prisheva. I was reading this and I'm saying to myself, this is not good. How could they treat these people worse than we treat the African Americans in America? And then the State Department has what they call country reports. So I didn't just believe the Albanians. I went to the country reports from before I went to Congress and then just after each year to see what they're saying about Yugoslavia. And sure enough, in the country reports are all these bad things that were being done. How many Albanians are in jail? More Albanians in jail in Yugoslavia than anybody else. How many were being, you know, even imprisoned in a very bad way and tortured. Then I found out that during the period, see, Tito died in 1981. I wasn't a congressman until 1985, so I had to learn this history. And then Tito kept the peace, the balance between the Albanians and the Slavs. But then after he died, the Serbs started to make big trouble for the Albanians, and the Albanians started the student demonstrations, riots in 1981. By the time I got to Congress, 600,000 Albanians out of 1,800,000 in Kosovo, and those are the numbers I got, were put through the police processes. This is how bad it was. I started to study, I started to research, I started to get the facts, and then in 1987, guess what happens? Milosevic becomes the president of Serbia and the president of the Communist Party. And now he's talking only for Kosovo. So now he has this idea that maybe Kosovo will never become a republic, and we were saying Kosovo Republic because Kosovo was just a province. It wasn't yet, even though it had its own parliament. So I was always saying Kosovo Republic, Kosovo Republic. Then in 1989, he moves in with the tanks on the streets of Pristina, and he tells the Convendi, the leaders of the Convendi, that he is now going to take the power, no more parliament for the Albanian people. That's when I started to become very aggressive, very active. So you might say I was at the right place at the right time because now Milosevic comes 1987 and I am prepared to do something. Now it took from 1987 to 2002 to get him into The Hague. That's a lot of time, but we accomplished that.
Faleminderit, unë për Kosovën kam një pyetje të veçantë dhe ajo është natyrshme sepse ju keni kushtuar lidhjen tuaj për Kosovën dhe unë do të bëj një pyetje në Kosova dhe kontributi i Dioguardit.
I had to shift from Albanians in Yugoslavia to Albanians in Kosovo because that's where the most negative things were being done against the Albanian people. The first contribution was in 1989 when I started the League to go to Belgrade and then to go to Kosovo to see for myself and take pictures to bring back to Lantos of the tanks on the street. Lantos was a Jewish congressman. He was saved from the Nazi Holocaust, so he knew how bad things could be. He said, go and take the pictures, come back, and if you could show me the pictures of what they're doing to the Albanians, I will then go with you to Pristina. We didn't think about Albania, but we went in May to Pristina. Why? To send a signal to Slobodan Milosevic that we are watching now everything he's doing, to slow him down because he was doing too much too fast. But at that time, Lantos had told me that if I ever get the chance to go to Albania, my dream is to go to Albania because I'm born in Hungary, I've been all over the world, nobody goes to Albania, it's like North Korea. And then I get a call from Bashkin Pataka in New York. He's the ambassador to the United Nations from Albania. We would like you to come to Albania, but we want you to come alone. We want to honor you, Mr. Dioguardi. You are now a hero for the Albanian people. But some smart Albanians told me, do never go there because they control the press. They will make it look like you're supporting communism, and then you are finished in America. So I said, I will come, but only if I bring Congressman Lantos. They said, no, it's not proper. And I said, well, I'm then going to Kosovo. No, you have to come here first. I said, no, too late. I'm going to Kosovo. If you want me to come to Albania, now I have to come with Lantos, and then I will drive from Prizren down. Oh, you can't go that way, because then it's 10 hours to go from Kukis all the way down to Tirana. But they agreed. They drove up, and they took me down. So what I did was I made this trip, not only to Pristina, to tell with Lantos, Milosevic, we're watching you. But then I did the same with Ramizalia to say, hey, the Berlin Wall came down, communism is gone, and you still have it here. When are you going to let democracy come? 1 month after Lantos and I was there, they ran to the embassies. They ran on the ship to go to Italy. So I accomplished a lot. I opened up the eyes of the West, but I opened up the eyes of the Albanian people that someone, Joe Dioguardi, was now speaking for them like nobody else had. So that was important. And then what did I do in 1990? I brought Rogova and 12 academics, intellectuals, no Levizia Demokrata, no party in Kosovo. The party LDK, Ledeka, came in 1991-92. And we brought them in for the big hearing, 5 hours in Washington, for the Congressional Human Rights Caucus, Senate and the House together. Lantos, Dioguardi, and you saw how Milosevic sent all the Serbian beards to testify, but we won. And you showed last night the Serbian woman, Congresswoman Helen Dilic-Bentley, how she was asking me the questions, and I had to answer them quick. And then we took them to New York and had the big dinner, Dak Mav in the Sheraton in April. So this was the beginning of waking up the Albanians in America, that we now had something that was a good foundation that could free the Albanians of Kosovo, bring democracy to Albania, and then deal with also the human rights violations against Albanians in Montenegro, in Macedonia, in northern Greece. The Cham issue, never discussed. I raised the Cham.
Më falë, kam pyetje të veçanta për këto treva, por ju keni pasur një luftë drejt për drejt me Milosevicin. Si ka qenë historia e vërtetë?
Milosevic did not come to Pristina. He was not there when I was there. But thousands of Albanians came in front of the Grand Hotel. All the cameras were there, and they saw the Serbian police beating up the students and the people, and even using the rubber bullets. And Congressman Lantos saw it, and he turned to me and said, this is like the Warsaw Ghetto. This is like what the Nazis did in World War II. It's very important that he saw that. So I never had any discussion with Milosevic. All I know is, after that incident in Pristina, the press in Serbia, Belgrade, Borba, Politica, he had interviews. And they were saying to Milosevic, what do you think of this former congressman Joe Dioguardi, and he was going, I don't care for this former congressman and his Albanian doormen, busboys, waiters in New York. In other words, I'm bigger than that. I don't have to worry. And then 2002, he's in The Hague blaming me for him coming there, that I satanized him. I didn't satanize him. I told the truth. He was a war criminal. He killed too many people. And he had his compatriots in Bosnia doing the same thing in Srebrenica. So we never had one discussion. He never would talk to me. He's the leader of a country, very arrogant, a dictator. He had no need to talk to me. But I spoke to him through the media, and I mentioned him all the time, how bad he was. And I had 28 different media programs, CNN, NBC, BBC, constantly telling the world who Milosevic was as a war criminal, and he had to be put in The Hague. And then it happened. So I think I did my job as a citizen. Don't forget, I'm not elected. I was only an independent advocate for the Albanian people, and many of them did support me. Not enough, but I used my Jewish friends and my Italian friends to raise money when the Albanians said we can't raise that much money. So I was able to do it.
Zoti Dioguardi, juve keni bashkëpunuar me miqtë tuaj këtu në Amerikë, por keni bashkëpunuar dhe me politikanët dhe aktivistat që kanë qenë në vendlindje, veçanërisht Kosovë. Cilat kanë qenë marrëdhëniet tuaja me LDK-n dhe me presidentin Rugova?
I never supported a party. The only reason I supported in the beginning President Rugova is that he was chosen by the people of Kosovo. It's not me to choose a leader. So what I had to do, my responsibility, was to at least bring him to Washington for the first time so people could see who he was. But not only him, I wanted them to know that there were other intellectuals like Recep Chosha, like Idris Ayeti, Mark Krasniqi, Lulieta Pula, Gazman Pula, Hayrullah Garani, 12 others. So I wanted them to see that the people that were potentially the political leaders of Kosovo were very smart, because the Serbs were saying that Albanians are terrorists, Albanians are ignorant, Albanians are farmers, and they didn't know that they had this intellectual class. So I did my best to bring them to the hearing, 5 hours, April 24th, 1990, and then to the Sheraton Hotel, April 28th, and then I brought them back again in September, and I did all I could. I went there again. I went with Lantos, but then Milosevic passed a law in Belgrade banning me for 5 years not to come back. So then I started working in Macedonia. The point is that I didn't see myself supporting a party. I don't believe in supporting any parties. I believe in giving the people the maximum environment to find a leader that they could trust and that they could vote for. Unfortunately today, there's too many corrupt leaders that are not doing what I did. They're not allowing the system to find the leaders. They're trying to use money, and they're trying to use the parties to determine how they can control the people. And then too many of them are making the coalitions with the Slavs, like in Montenegro and Macedonia. And it's not working because the Slavs are not giving the Albanians anything. Look at Preševa. So I am reminding the Albanian people that we cannot be seduced. We cannot be tricked. We cannot take, Milosevic got away from 1987 to 2002. You know how many years that is? 15 years. Many people died. Why? He lied. America thinks that when you're a leader, you don't lie. No, the Russians lied. The Slavs lied. Communists lied. And that's the way they are. A book was written by the head of the CIA in America. His name was FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, about the Communist Party. And you know what the name of the book was? Masters of Deceit. They will say anything to accomplish what they want. This is not the way we do democracy in America. So I'm happy that I took the tough way, not the easy way. The easy way is, oh, let me support that party. Maybe they'll give me money. No, I take no money from foreign countries, no money from political parties. I take money, and not from me and Shirley, because we don't get paid, to give to the system and to use to travel back and forth, because I believe in being independent. not to be controlled. And that's the way Albanians have to now start thinking.
Faleminderit, edhe koha për tre këngë tjera.
You know, I'm not a musician.
Oh, I know,
There's a lot of, but I like music. Thank God I like music because I can remember. Then I would say, let's go to the light songs that were in Broadway. You had, why I'm saying this, because my daughter, when she was young, she used to memorize these songs and she used to sing them. So we had a play in 1987 called, 1977 called Annie. Annie. And there was a beautiful song in Annie called Tomorrow. Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love you tomorrow, you're only one day away. The optimism, she was in an orphanage. So I would say that was a good one. Then you had another one about the young teenagers called Grease. And I remember 1978, you had Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta. They were young at the time. And there was a beautiful song when they fell in love, Hopelessly Devoted to You. And I'm not going to sing it, but my daughter sings it well. I think that's another nice one. And then in going back to the plays, I would say one of the plays that was great was by Gershwin. And it was Showboat, about how the black people lived under slavery and after slavery in America after. And there was a beautiful song that the old black man sang with a deep voice called Old Man River, that old man river, it just keeps flowing and da 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 da. So Old Man River, I think, is another to show the pain of the black people. Reminds me of the pain of the Albanian people, what they had to suffer under the Serbs, almost like slavery.
Faleminderit, të nderuar shikues, indikim këngë dhe kthehemi përsëri në bisedë me kongresmenin Dioguardi.